attacking out and even fronts. And I think when I first thought this, I wasn't too sure about it because I'm not a big X and O guy. I mean, I understand X's and O; they're a part of our program, but as I looked at it, I said, well, this is an opportunity to really understand myself. And I think when you attack out and even fronts, it's not like, hey, we're going to block the 5-3 stack this way, and we're going to block the 5-2 Oki this way, and we're going to block the 4-4 this way, because every defense, almost every defense, has a little bit different way they play. And you got to look at not just the front, but how they play within the front and the people in it. So I think as you get ready to attack fronts, you have to have an offense. You have to build your offense. And in the wing offense, we are very sequential. Most of us are very sequential. So that's the number one thing. I think you got to have an offense that attacks across the formation horizontally and in depth. And I'll get that a little bit more later on. Scout the defense. And then you got to look at the front. You got to look at the edges of the defense and also the defensive backs on the defense, not just the front. It's not just, hey, they're playing an Oki front. What are they doing the other places? Then we, at Aquinas, we try to attack the voids and angles. And we have 3 different ways we attack: inside, which is basically A gap, and B gap potentially. C gap is off tackle, and our G play, our sweep play, et cetera. And then our flank plays would be pitch and jet and stuff. So we try to attack those 3 different areas, trying to find the voids where the defense is not, and using angles of our blockers to attack. And then you got to check as the game's going on. You got to check the defensive alignment and reactions to you. Then after you've checked their alignments and reactions, how they react to you, then you use your blocking calls, your tags, and as a lot of people put it, it's the if-10, if-then. If they do this, then we're going to do this. And I think you got to first approach it from a large philosophical way. Okay, here's our offense. Here's what the defense is doing. Here's how we're attacking it. How do they react to us? And this is what we're doing next. And I think that's either odd or even. It doesn't make a difference. Build your offense with a series. Trying to get this off here. I think you need to build with series because series allows you to apply strategy within your play calling. You need to have series that attack the defense in width across the formation, at least half the formation from center out one way, if not both ways, with counters and counter sweeps, et cetera, and bootlegs. And then you also got to attack down the field potentially versus depth of defense. Now, we throw the ball 8 times a game. Our opponents throw it 17 on average in 30 years, and we've thrown more touchdown passes 28 times because if you're going to play tight on us, we're going to try to throw deep. We throw the ball for 2 reasons: touchdowns or first downs. We don't just throw the ball to throw the ball, which, just how we do it. Then you got to have within your play series of plays attack their reactions are play calls, tags when blocking schemes that attack their actions. But, and I don't want to sound like an old-fashioned guy or like your grandma talking to you and stuff, but the X's and O's of defense, I don't think is as important as their reactions. They can be in the stack. They can be in the Oki. What are they doing out of that? And I guess if you're blocking an Oki, okay, this is what they're doing, and we just normally do this. But some people treat their linebackers differently. They'll play them different. They'll play their line different. And some people in Oki will slant. Some will play read. So the X and O's, where they line up, is not as important as what they do. Remember, where they line is not where they finish. Where they align is not where they finish. You got to learn to block run fits. Okay, if the linebacker's 4 yards off the line of scrimmage and he's coming downhill and you're trying to run trap, is your tackle constantly trying to block at 4 yards depth? Or if he is, he's not going to get the guy because the tackle's going to be underneath him. You got to drill with footwork. You got to get underneath that linebacker. So as you're trying to block the odd front or the even front, block their run fits where you think they're going to be. So you're going to try to build a series, or I'll look at it. I think there's 2 types of series in the wing T that are basically running series, that 2 types of series. Of course, your passing series can be a series in of itself. But you have the inside-out series, where your first ball fake or first action is inside and then it's outside. I think the famous buck sweep series is kind of like this. Your trap is the first fake, and then our first chance to carry the ball. Your sweep is the second fake, a second chance to carry the ball, and the third one, the opposite flank, which makes it split flow, would be a counter crisscross or your boot. So that's an inside out series, and that happens to be a split flow series where you're attacking both sides of the line of scrimmage with action. Or you got to have an outside in series where the first threat is outside and then you come back inside off of that. And that usually comes from the full flow theories, full flow series. An example here would be like, we're trying to run jet and we have quick halfbacks. We try to run jet or pitch. And then some people have to play, their edge player has to widen, and their edge player is also sometimes helps on C gap. So if we get that edge player to widen, our next play is going to be inside of them, G or down play, or possibly if the linebackers are flying, we're going to run a belly or trap back inside. So you got to get the defense reacting to you, and inside out or outside in, split flow or full flow. And I think then you build off of that, you build plays off that, you build play action off of that, et cetera, et cetera. So like I just explained that down here. And then sometimes within that is a play can be in both series. Our trap is in multiple series for us. Sometimes it's an inside out in the buck sweep series, and sometimes it's outside in like a jet or trap series. Sometimes it's the first play action or potential of the series, and sometimes it's the second action of the series. So sometimes trap right away, quick right away is maybe the best play to run trap. And sometimes we need the linebackers to be outside conscious and we come back inside, then it's good play there. So sometimes your plays, it can be in multiple series for you. Like the G, the belly, that can be off, they can be their own series. You're gonna run a belly series and then run plays off of that, or the belly can come off your jet and a pitch series. Okay, at Aquinas, we're a little bit fullback oriented. We run our fullback all three inside gaps. We run them trap into the A gap. We run them belly into the B gap. And then we run G, and we call it G. Some people call it down, and some people actually call G belly also. But we run G into the C gap. So our fullback attacks along the line of scrimmage and width. And once in a while, our fullback will take a toss, like a pitch with the pitch blocking. Is our fullback will block, will run all four gaps, but usually just three. But in that, and you build the series, and this is where the coaching comes in, all three fullback plays need line communication on who to block. If you're going to run your fullback, they can communicate maybe by, we have a lot of line calls, or just by visual. They see what it is. Hopefully you rep enough at practice, they can communicate really easily without even sometimes even talking. And how do you get these to be good? I think it's odd or even doesn't make a difference. You just got to get repetition. I mean, if you're going to be a halfback oriented series, you got to get repetition running your halfback, blocking the fronts that you think you're going to see, and even fronts that you don't think you're going to see. And you just need to practice it. That's kind of the common denominator, the biggest thing we all have to deal with this time. Trying to get kick teams in, defense in, and offense in. I'm coming from a small school perspective. A large school where a lot of kids play one way, it'd be a little easier to build in more answers because you have more time to work on offense. But in a small school, you don't. You're basically kind of limited. Like I think we're all limited about the same amount of time. And we again attack the defense with our fullback at their voids and bubbles with angles, sometimes as the first action and sometimes as the second action. But that's how we do it at Aquinas.
Coaches, I really hope you got some great information from that YouTube video. Again, hit the subscribe and like button down below. It gives us valuable data, and you also get notified when I upload new content to this channel. Thanks for watching, coaches.